All right, so let's do our UVing of this push button switch. So this is what it looks like. It's make sure that all of our pieces have their own are all clean, and by that I mean, delete your history. Probably a very good idea to freeze the transforms on everything. And let's see, there we go. We got these guys over there. I turned off the grid, and okay, so let's look at this. So here is our UV editor, and I've already UV'd it, so I just gave it just blew away the UVs with that camera. UV set, so it looks a little bit funny. So the question is, do we do everything all on one UV map? Do we put it all on one 0 to 1? So here, over there. We could. It really depends on how, on what kinds of textures we want to use with it. Do we want to put, make them like higher resolution? Do we want to make them lower? It all really depends quite a lot. We could put it at a 4096 and have it on one texture, or we could do multiple ones. But let's start first with just doing it all on one texture, and then we can move from there. Because the main thing is, how do you apply the textures, or the UVs rather, and how do you get it so nothing is warped? So the main thing is that you're going to use basically cylindrical mapping and normal based mapping. So first off, let's just go from piece by piece. Let's start with these guys down here. And let's hide everything else. So let's see here. Let's see first what happens if we apply a automatic map on it. So if we apply an automatic map on it, I wasn't showing it, automatic map, this is what we get. So obviously we don't want to use this, but there are elements of it that we actually can use. So sometimes applying an automatic map can get certain things that would look right. So we have these guys. We're going to want to make these guys all separate anyways. And then we have all these pieces here. These pieces, let's look at it here. These guys we're going to want to have just wrap around everything. So what I'd suggest is selecting all those guys, giving it a normal based one, and unfolding it. Now you'll notice that when we unfold it, it's a little bit off to the side, to a little bit at an angle. We don't really want that. And the reason for this is that you're going to see pixels looking a little funky. Say you wanted to have like a line going straight down the middle. You'd want the pixels to be really nicely lined up. So one of the things that you can do with that is you can use straighten UVs, and sometimes straighten will have some a little unusual effects, but here luckily it's turned out all right. We have it set to 30 degrees there. And then let's get this guy going. I'm not doing the top because that's really not going to be seen. Normal based, unfold. Strain UVs. Cool. And each time you do these guys, move them off to the side. That way we know we're done with them. Let's see what these guys look like if we unfold them. Does it look weird? No. In fact, didn't change it at all. Good. Cool. Move them out of the way. Now, the things we have left are the top, which you're not going to see. Let's get those guys out of the way. And then the inside here. So these guys, and you could do a cylindrical map if you wanted. Let's do it really easy. Do a normal based, and let's select this one. That's not done, by the way. And another normal based. So you notice they look a little different. That's interesting. I wonder why I did that. And then let's choose an edge. Select those guys. Go in here and cut. Go back to our UV shell. Unfold it. Unfold it. You know what? That didn't work the way I wanted it to work. I don't think that's going to work right. Yeah, that definitely did not work out right. Let's see what happened there. Because for all intents and purposes, that should have been just fine. Turn off these. Top and the top. What we should see is we should see that one being cut. And it didn't do it. Let's see what's going on. I think it might be a setting. So it was not a setting. I just didn't happen to notice that there were other edges to it. I looked a little closer, and then we cut it, and that's a cut right there. And then let's also select the top over here. Let me select these guys, select that, and go and cut. Now we go into UV shell, and unfolds just fine. Just the way I expected it. It's always weird when things don't go the way that you expect them to go. You're like, dum-da-dum-da-dum. And then all of a sudden, what? But that's why excessive pride is not a good thing. Pride goeth before destruction. Alright, so we have these guys. Let's select this one, that shell, and straighten. Select this shell and straighten. Make sure we don't lose anything. Cool. All right, we have these guys. These guys are good. Let's just move these over here. And then we're going to save it. And let's show all. And we have this guy. Pretty darn straightforward. So, what do you think we're going to use? We could use normal base if you want to. We could also use cylindrical mapping. So, pretty straightforward. But let's also choose the faces that we're going to use for it. These guys, and then we go into a cylindrical map. It's good. This guy normal based. It's good. That guy normal based. It's good. Look at how easy this is. It's just nice when things work out the way that you intend them to work. All right. Object mode. Now this guy's going to be a little bit tricky. So some of the easiest things we can think about here is, and also when you think about what Substance Painter is going to do is that it needs to have some gaps between the UV shells. So we can start with the top. Super easy. Normal based. Bring that over there. We can now go here to this part. And it all depends on what you want to tackle. Do you want to tackle the hardest stuff first or the easiest stuff? Sometimes I want to tackle the harder stuff first, and sometimes other stuff. So this one, cylindrical. And today I'm tackling it in the easy way kind of mood. This one, pretty straight on. I'm just going to give this normal based and unfold it. This one, down here, same thing. So I clicked on one, double clicked on one further down the way. As long as it's contiguous, nothing weird going on, Maya can do this. But sometimes Maya can get confused. Alright. And I was holding down Control. Yep, look at this also, that helps. So we have that, and that's going to be straight on normal based. Move that out of the way. And then this side. Cylindrical. Now, I'm just placing some of this just willy-nilly, which also is, I mean, it's choosing that the seam is going to be over on this side here. So I didn't, if I really cared about where the seam was going to be, I would mess with the cylindrical map. Now this guy, we're going to remove these bottom parts over here. So I'm holding down Tab and clicking on the ones that are already selected. And I've removed those. But don't forget, we also have these little guys here. So Control click these off. Oops. Okay. Oops. Trying not to be sloppy. Don't be sloppy, by the way. Employers don't really like that. In general, don't do anything half-assed. That's what somebody would always tell me. Kind of forces you to attain a good result and to try hard. All right, let's look here and see what we have. We had one there. It does need to be selected. There's another one. So measure, what do they say in construction? Measure twice, cut once. Luckily, polygons are free to model, but why waste your time? I'd like to go into wireframe just to double check and see what see how it looks, and make sure we haven't missed anything. All right, so we have that. We can do cylindrical on that. But okay, there we go, and it's got the seam. It's decided this is going to be the seam, which is interesting. It's very nice. Thank you, Maya. And then the bottom area here, since we've already done most of it, this should be something that we should be able to select the whole bottom shell. Since it's already down at the bottom, we don't have to do any crazy stuff. So with that, we just do normal based. We do an unfold. Look at how pretty that is. That's pretty cool. All right, and all that's left is this section, which it has nicely selected all of it for us because that was the last thing that we left. So that's a good reason to do the hardest one for the last. And it's not harder. It's not really hard. Once you know how to do all this stuff, you know, think Yoda. It's like, no, only different in your mind. So let's click on cylindrical map. Oh my gosh, it's done. So let's see how, if we turn on the checkerboard, how everything looks. Obviously, there's some things that are a little off. I mean, the textile density is the main thing. The screws, though, I think they're looking good. There's nothing, you know, nothing too off about them. Nothing really stretched. It looks pretty good. So that was pretty fast. I love it when things like that go fast and you don't realize they're going to. What's that? Oh dear, look at that. We forgot one spot. Anyways, since we and that's what's neat about like moving all these things off to the side. You're like, what is that? I don't remember that. So since we forgot about that one, we'll just take that and move that off to the side after a normal based UV. All right. Move these guys over here. Now what do we have next? The other thing too is that we could just do UV maps for each of the disparate pieces. It's kind of up to you. So what we have left is, really, is that all we have left? Man, that was fast. Are these guys? So let's tackle this one. This is kind of fun. So we can see that we have our threads on the inside. That's something I'm gonna think about. And actually, I'm gonna hide everything else. So first, let's do the most obvious part, and let's do the top, and these sides over here. So we go into our face mode, and sure we don't have any of these guys selected, which we do. And then we'll go into the side, and we'll remove half of it. Right? And then we'll remove these guys. All right, that looks good. Normal based. Ka-ching. Let's get the other side here. Do like we did before. Others might have a little bit more of a more accurate way of selecting those guys, but it's all right. This gets the job done. It's not half-assed because I'm just doing it fast. Doesn't mean it's half-assed. End result is the same. Oh, you messed those guys. One thing that you can also do is there's a grow function with selections. I actually rarely have ever used that. And I don't know, maybe it's because most of the time I haven't worked in excessively high polygon count. This is just faster. We got that. Normal based. Move that out of the way. Oops. All right. Well, we forgot one other part. Is that it? Yeah. There's some tricks about adding faces that, you know, with move and sew that I've talked about before, but this, obviously, all you need to do is just a normal base and it'll bring it right back in. All right, so now we have these pieces here. We have the inside and we have the outside. So the outside is the easiest one, and this will be fun. We just cylindrical map that. Now, how you want to do that, that may be something that we may want to think about. See, I don't like how that ends up right there. So I want to actually go in pull it all the way back there, and then grab onto this guy, and then we're going to get the seam so it's right there on the end, just like that. So when we look at it in the UV editor, it looks like that. That's much better. And last but not least, we have our threads. What are we going to use? Donk. All right, that guy's done. Let's show all. What do we have left? This one. Oh, space. There is no up or down. And this one. Now this guy. All right. That's weird. All right. We have that. Now, that's interesting because we'd like to have that one straightened out. But I really don't think it's worth the effort. I don't think we're going to see much of an issue with that. Obviously, we're going to have to do the side. So let's do the side. Oops. Okay. All right. And the bottom. Make sure we have everything. Yep. Okay. Donk. Why? Why do you do that? Normal based. What? Well, let's see what happens there. Oh, okay. There's a good idea. We have one going like that, so that's all right. Let's make sure that it's as straight as possible. Straighten the UVs. Cool. All right. And then we have left. Let's do the bottom part of this. Ah. Bottom part of it is all all set. And then we should just have, and the outside is all right. That's good. The inside is the one that we have left. Oh, and the caps. So we could do a couple things. One is you could just select the caps. And then I'll paste that. Or the other is that we could cut it. I'll do both methods. And then if we go into our shell, we have that guy. Then we just have to normal paste that. So I honestly think that cutting is just more work than necessary. Sometimes you have to do things really fast, get stuff out the door, and you don't have time to make it a beautiful, wonderful work of art. Let's do, whoa, okay, why did it do that? Oh, that's right, because it's, okay, cylindrical mapping on the outside. What did we do before? I think we did normal, and then unfold it. There we go, yeah. And then straighten. All right, so that guy's done. And all we have left is this. So you're not even going to see the inside of this here, but might as well do something basic for it. Everything's good there. Now we just need to get rid of this. So deselecting can also work the same way as selecting with double clicking. Some of the newer things in Maya certainly are nice. Back in the day, we didn't have a lot of these things, uphill both ways. So we'll do a normal based. Oh, okay, normal based. I guess I didn't set it up. And then unfold it. So just quick and dirty on that one. Now, what we have left is really essentially all the other stuff that's going to be done. So here, we could just select, make it cylindrical, but we're not going to do all of it as cylindrical because the top of it I want to do as a separate one. So front view, face, select these guys, and then just normal, unfold. All right, that's all of it. Now we do have a lot of history on here, so I'm going to bring back everything. And let's just go in here and delete all our history. All right, save it. Ooh, should have saved it a lot earlier. You'll also notice if we go into the editor, the UV editor, and we go into subdiv mode, that you'll see the difference with subdivs. You can see how it changes it a little bit. That's kind of interesting. You'll see that effect in the UVs as well as the actual object. So what do we do now? Now that we have all these guys all set up, one of the things I've talked about before is that you want to make sure that you have the same textile density so that things don't look a little bit strange. So if we look at this now, oh, things are stretched. It would be a nightmare. So the easiest thing to do really is to do a layout. But we also want to make sure that we have our layout have enough space in between all of the objects. So I just click on layout, it brings it right there. That's pretty cool. And then we want to arrange things, how exactly we want them to be arranged. I think if I look here, I can see that there is a certain amount of spacing between it, which is probably okay. Have to load it in and see what happens with Substance Painter. Also, oh, what's that? Okay, yeah, that's right. Let's look at it, what it looks like here. So that's not. How did it do that? That's very interesting. Some of this stuff is a little bit stretched. You can change how layout does stuff. I forget which one it is. Is it automatically shift left mouse button options? So shift left mouse button options. We can go in here, packing resolution. We can change the distribution, the texture size size there. We can probably change that to 5. Nope, we don't want that. Layout. All right. So some of those guys that were a little bit stretched, let's look at them. I wonder how that happened. Let's rotate that guy. And turn on our checkerboard. And I'll make sure you can see what I'm doing here. So we don't want it to go outside of the space of our texture. If we do, it'll start tiling back on itself. So what we could do is we could just make this a little smaller. We can just bring that out. Let's get it so it's nice and square. So we do have a bit of a textile difference there. And then we have this issue too. Let's bring this up, rotate that guy. All right, so almost everything fits in it. Let's bring it all down just a bit. What we can also do here is we can arrange things in a little bit more of a setup that we'd really prefer. One of the other things that you might want to know about is that we can change the textile density. We can just grab it. So if we get the textile density right here, it's showing it's at 168.6937, and that's in, is that in transform? Yeah, transform tools. No, just transform. All right, so we have that. We could set the textile density for these. Say we wanted to have everything set to 150. Nope, too big. get. Oh, okay. There we go. 87. So 87 when we get it, and then we set them all, and then they have 87. So if we have everything set at 87, let's try all these guys and set everything to the same textile density. All right. Let's try it at 80. All right, there we go. Let's see what happens if we set this. I don't know if that's going to work. No, actually, that does work all right. Oh, wait, we still have this. Rotate that there. Bring this guy over here. Good. Now we're going to set it to 80, and everything is set right. So I think you guys saw what I did there. Textile density, you can select on one, get it, or you can set it yourself manually, and then you can select all these guys and you can set all of them to the proper size. Now, if I went in and I did layout right now, it would just blow all that stuff away. So I do sometimes like to have things arranged the way that I like them to be arranged, and the way I'm prepared for it. So I'm gonna just get these guys set up in a little bit of a setup fashion. What's this one? Let's see how that looks. That's stretched also. Darn it. Rotate. Bring that out. There. This is also a little stretched. There. Okay. So everything's set up. These guys. Even though they're the same shape, we still could, we don't want to put them on top of each other because then they're going to share the same texture, and we want to have some difference with this, so that we could have like grunge or or some kind of rust or something. Oh, that must be inside. Yeah. There's another thing that we'll deal with later called trim sheets, and that's something that is mainly for environment modeling, for big environments where you have things that use like one single texture but that span a bunch of different objects. So this is essentially like a trim sheet because it's one single object, but there's a special way to set it up in Substance Painter. So there we go. We have all of our stuff nicely laid out. It's all textured, and it is ready for the next step, make sure also that you name this. I don't remember if I went over that last time, naming it. One thing also that we want is we do want to have, I believe we do want to have some of our have edges like this smoothed out. This can be useful in a number of different ways, especially if you're bringing it into Unreal. If you're not bringing it into Unreal and you're just rendering it out here, it's all right. Another thing too, when we're going to bring stuff into Substance, we may actually end up baking in the subdiv surfaces, and I'm just going here smoothing it, which is essentially a mesh display, and soften edge. But we do want some of these guys to still have their hard edge. Unreal, I believe, will have some issues if you don't have everything smoothed properly. I can't say that for sure, so don't quote me on it. We'll soften that. Oops. Oh, there's another one. These guys would look a little weird. Soften. 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 However, we do... No, that's probably all right. I was going to say we might want to go in here and harden that edge. This one, we can soften all of that. Right. Looks good. Next video will be dealing with Substance Painter. Thank you for watching.